Stay hydrated. Hello and welcome. My name is Cassie. I am a personal trainer and the creator of Rosero Fitness. And today I decided to make a video on how to pick or how to know whether someone is a good or a bad personal trainer. So the entire industry is incredibly saturated with all types of different philosophies of coaching and approaches to weight loss or strength and conditioning or athletic performance. And it's great in the sense that it gives you a lot of variety to choose from and different ways of thinking in your fitness journey, whatever it entails. However, it also means that there's a lot of room for people who should not be coaches to try to be a trainer. And so I decided to make a video on how to know if the person you are looking at or maybe considering working with as a trainer is a good trainer or a bad trainer. I am also a personal trainer, as I said before, and so I've been a trainer for about 4 years, and I'm very much immersed in that world. So I've seen what good trainers do and what bad trainers do, and how you can kind of pick it out before you sign up with them. It's kind of hard to tell because, I mean, in the beginning of when you meet anybody, it's very much like you're going to see their representative, and that's in any area. If you're just meeting a friend or a new coach or a new potential employee or potential partner, right? Everyone's putting up their best foot forward when they meet someone new. It can be hard to tell. A couple of things that are not so much good versus bad, but it depends on you, or they're not always the best indicators, right? So first big thing is education. So one of the first things that people look for when they're looking for a trainer is obviously, where are you educated? Where are you certified? Where do you have your degree from? You do not have to have a certification or a degree to call yourself a personal trainer. There is nothing against it. Nothing happens to you if you do it. And I have met pretty much both on both sides of it, right? So I've met people who have multiple letters behind their names from multiple organizations, and they have degrees, and they like spend their life learning this stuff, and most of the time they're pretty good coaches. Like, they know what they're talking about. They have the information and the knowledge of how the body works and how to get you from point A to point B. However, I have also met the ones who have plenty of letters behind their name, and they have the knowledge of how the body works, but when it comes to application and adaptability as a trainer, because at the end of the day, you're working with humans, and the human body does not work in one complete way. So a lot of times you'll run into contraindications that you usually see it in one way, but in this one person, it happens to show up in another way. And so people with a lot of letters behind their name, I've seen some of them, again, fewer than most, but I've seen some of them not do well when it comes to real world applicability of this industry, and they just aren't very good at teaching it, or they aren't very flexible with their clients, or it's just like everything is by the book and it's not very flexible. Now, I've also seen, obviously, you'll have people who have 0 credentials, or they only have one little letter of certification behind them from an organization, and that is where you'll see a lot more people who don't really know what they're talking about so much, but they want to get a certification. Just try personal training. I think everyone, if that's what you want to try to do, absolutely go for it. And the longer you're in, the more you'll learn from it, because most of what you learn in this industry is just working with clients. There's a lot of trainers with no certifications, or 1 certification or 2 certifications, that do not know what they're talking about when it comes to coaching. Like, they read a book and they happen to look good, which is great, right? Those are 2 really important credentials when it comes to being a trainer, is you should know more about the body. It can be argued that you should look like what you're trying to sell, and you can perform like you're trying to sell. Those are 2 very important things, but those 2 things alone do not make a good trainer. It's a whole roundedness to it. So that's kind of, it is a generally good way to indicate whether someone is going to be a good trainer or not, is like, how many letters do they have behind them to back up what they're saying and back up their authority in the space. But it's not always the most reliable. You'll see whether or not someone's more full of shit when we go through like the good trainer qualities versus the bad trainer qualities, and you can just take the education and put it into respect with everything else on this list. So the other thing that you can't really say is like, okay, good versus bad is overall like client trainer compatibility. I'm talking personality, I'm talking age, demographics, social statuses, experiences, and like in life and all of that. So example of this would be, I am 22. I work with a lot of moms and like single moms, working moms, stay-at-home moms. Like I work with a lot of them, generally women from like 25 to 45-ish. I'll also go a little bit older. Working in that space, right, as a 22-year-old woman, and I'm not married, I have no kids, sometimes get pushback from my demographic that I like to work with, women 25 to 45, because I am only 22, because I don't have kids, because I'm not married, and to them, they're not comfortable working with someone who hasn't been through what they've gone through. Now, I've been able to help women in those circumstances, even though I haven't been through that. And those women are obviously seeing great things. And I'm glad I was able to help them. At the same time, it is completely understandable for some women and some moms to only be comfortable with trainers that have been through what they have gone through. And that is very personal, and that is something only you can decide. That's something to look at as well. Is, do you want your trainer to have gone through the same things? Do you not care? Some people don't care. Like my clients obviously don't care, and I've been able to help them do incredible things. That's an entirely personal thing. I can't tell you like, okay, well, good trainer is going to look like this and bad trainer is going to look like this. That's just personal preference. On to good trainers versus bad trainers. First obvious one is going to be testimonials and reviews, right? Good trainers are going to have testimonials and reviews from their clients to back up what they're saying that they can do for you. Bad trainers are not. They're going to have absolutely nothing backing them up. So testimonials and reviews are going to include like little quotes or something that the trainer would have gotten from the clients, and then they post it up on social media. Oftentimes it's followed up with like a before and after photo. Not all of them do, however. So next bit is going to be programming. Programs are pretty, I don't want to say simple, but in the grand scheme of trying to get healthy and get in shape, making the program, especially if someone doesn't have like a medical interference or a complication, it's probably the most simple part of getting in shape, is just having that workout. So it's not that programs have to be incredibly intricate. However, bad trainers or trainers you probably want to stay away from are going to use the same exact program for every single person looking to do like a million different things. So the same person who wants to bodybuild is getting the same program as a person who wants to lose weight is getting the same program as someone who wants to get better at playing soccer or baseball or something. Again, exercises are actually pretty, like, it's once you do enough programming within your specific demographic, it gets pretty easy to put a program together. Again, as long, like, depending on if a person has a medical condition or not. Like the best trainers I've ever met, they customize their programs for their clients. Now, when it comes to like specific sports or something like that, obviously you're going to see some more repetition in the programming. Or if you have two different clients who pretty much have like the same exact problems, and what worked for this client looking through the program would probably have the same exact effect on this one. Yes, trainers can and will reuse programs between different clients, but it's not every single time. It's just because, okay, this program works for this person, let's see if it works for this person, and 90% of the time it does. And if it doesn't, usually you just have to tweak like one or two things. The best trainers I know, they customize their programs for their clients, because not every program is made for every single person, and not every single person's body is going to react to each program the same. Now, you'll have those people on the internet, or coaches on the internet, who specialize in a specific type of bodybuilding or powerlifting or sports performance, and they make it known that they just sell this one training program, and that is fine, right? That is up to you to decide if you want to go with that or if you want to go with a customized program. However, again, the best trainers I know, they do custom programming. Good trainers will get custom programs. Bad trainers don't give a shit, and everyone's going to get the same thing, and they're just in it for the money. Sometimes those programs can help you, but they're not always going to be the best for you. So the next two are more around like content. When you're looking at a trainer's like social media, or like on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, or whatever it is, the next two are more focused on like that type of thing. So a good trainer will discuss personal training philosophies and why it works, as well as they'll generally be open to questions and discussions, right? Whereas a bad trainer, from what I've seen, does nothing but talk shit about every other trainer and training philosophy without offering any alternatives, right? So there's one thing to be debunking myths or like engaging in a debate about like training philosophies, because everyone's different, right? Everyone has a different way of going about training and coaching and teaching and like all that stuff. Everyone's got their own opinions, and that's totally fine. That's totally healthy. We should be able to express those opinions and debate and like have those conversations. However, when a trainer online, all they ever do is bash other coaches, and they're not talking about what, like, oh, well, this is wrong because of this, and so you should do this instead, that's a huge red flag, and I would not be working with that trainer. The last bit I have on here is good trainers will upload for their target audience, specifically for their niche, for their demographic, and they're uploading like value building content for their demographic because they're trying to help y'all. Now, as on the other side, right, you'll see the accounts will lack content to build value to you. I can't say it's true for everyone, because I also know coaches that don't like make videos like I do, where I'm like talking to the camera and I'm spitting out all this information, right? So not every coach does that, but I know coaches that don't do that stuff, and they're still amazing coaches, and like they have all this like a wealth of knowledge, and they're able to help all these types of people. But they just don't upload that type of stuff. What they do upload instead is they will upload like their workouts and things that they're doing along their journey, and people get value from that, and but that talks to their target audience still, right? So powerlifting, I know a lot of powerlifting coaches, or maybe not a lot, I know some powerlifting coaches, and their content is powerlifting, and people that are looking for powerlifting coaches, they're looking for people with big numbers a lot of times, right? And so they'll post themselves lifting those big numbers and doing specific like accessory workouts for powerlifting and for the muscles that you need to build, and the motor skills you need to build to do powerlifting. And so that's where those guys will get value, is from those types of videos, right? So it's not always going to be like a talking video. But this is what I do for my clients and my demographic, because I'm trying to teach y'all about how to take care of yourselves. That's not always going to come through in workout videos, because a lot of time, well, my training philosophy has more to do than just working out. It's a whole encompassed 5 basics of health thing that I'm not going to get into right now. But that's why my content looks the way it does. And I'll see, like, again, my powerlifting coaches that I know, their content will look a certain way. But if you have, I can't tell you how many Instagram accounts I'll see that they're like, oh, I'm a trainer, oh, I do this, and the only thing on their feed is edits of like hard work, working in silence, lone wolf, and all that stuff. And there's absolutely like nothing of substance on their account other than them flexing. So, I mean, it's great if you're looking to work with power or with bodybuilders, because like, great, you look like that. How? You know what I mean? So that's something else to look at. And the biggest thing I would take from this video is a quote that I say all the time, and all of my colleagues and other trainers I know all agree with this. A coach should be a good athlete. A good athlete is not always going to be a good coach, right? There's a teachability factor to being a trainer. You have to be able to teach people, and that takes a lot of patience. It takes trust. It takes strategy, and it's not always easy, and it can be very, very tedious. It's not for everybody. That's pretty much all I have for good trainers versus bad trainers, and how I would identify them from what I've seen in the fitness industry. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah!